Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Good to see you, Ben. Feel like we don't usually get to see you. It's nice seeing you.
Yep.
You know, what a treat.
Let's see.
Okay, we watch out. Okay. Hi. Bad cold. It's 5:58. Ben,
Yep.
you gonna see something weird? Go to Empower LA to Lincoln Heights NC page, and they added a new board seat on our thing.
For what?
It doesn't make any sense. It says like general stakeholder board member. They gave us back our 26th person, maybe. I don't know. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Hi, everyone. It's good to see everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Richard.
Hi, everyone.
Benny. Oh,
Hi, everyone. I haven't seen you guys since last year.
I'm gonna light a candle. 1 second.
Oh, we're too short.
Right, it's 6 p.m. for our members in the attendee side. We are waiting for one more board member who just came in to meet quorum. We now have 14 board members present.
Yeah.
Just
Cool.
waiting for that number to change. 14 board members. We have met
Yep.
quorum.
Okay, 1 second. Cool. So this is a meeting of the Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council. It's a general board and stakeholder meeting. The date is Thursday, January 19th, 2023. It's our first meeting of the year. And it's 6:03 p.m. And with that, Secretary Sanchez, roll call, please.
All right, I will now take roll call. Sarah Clendenning,
Present?
Ben Wadsworth,
Present. Selena just logged in.
Fernanda Sanchez, present. Vincent Chente Montalvo,
Present.
Annalie Har,
Present.
Sylvia Lara,
Present.
Melanie Bolomo Shiflet.
Here.
Didier DeLizer is excused. Jared Gunsberg,
Present.
Gil Arevalo,
Here.
Richard Ortiz,
Present.
Steve Lucero,
Present.
Elena Ortega,
Oh, did you say Benny?
uh,
Not yet. Okay.
Selena Ortega,
Present.
Esmeralda Landeros,
Present.
Nancy Soto,
Present.
Angelo Bolomo,
Present.
Benny Madera,
Present.
Cristina Cabrera,
Present.
awesome. We have 17 board members. We have met quorum. And then just also want to welcome Angelo and Cristina. This is their first meeting with the council. So good to have you.
Thank you, Fernanda. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I just, thank you everybody for being on the meeting. We have above quorum, and I just want to say, if everybody could like, just for a portion of the meeting, or if you can, like be on video, just so, you know, I don't, like if we were in person, everybody would see our faces, right? And I think that we owe the community the chance to see our faces, right? But you know, doesn't have to be on all the time, but just for quorum reasons and like, you know, we're working for the people. So, all right, so now we're going to move on to item 2, public comment on non-agenda. Public comment on non-agenda items, 2 minutes per person. So if there's anybody from the public who wishes to comment on something that's not on the agenda, you have 2 minutes to speak. Please raise your hand or press *9. We're going to run a timer here.
Again, this is public comment and we have 1 hand raised. Daisy, you have 2 minutes to speak.
Hi, so just to let the community know, Los Angeles Animal Services is in need of donation for the food pantry. They give food out every Sunday for those that are in the community, and it's 3 locations that pass out food to the community. It is Chesterfield, that's in South Los Angeles, East Valley, which is in Van Nuys, and North Central, which is here in Lincoln Heights on Lacey Street. But they are in need of support. So if anyone is able to, you can please donate wet food and dry food. In particular, they really need dry food for dogs. And the location in North Central really needs like 1 gallon Ziploc bags. So if you are able to and willing and able to, please donate to these locations. That's all.
Thank you, Daisy.
Thank you for that, Daisy. We also have like an animal service committee, if you're interested in that. We'll get the chairperson to get in contact with you.
Oh yeah, it's a liaison. And Daisy, if you wanted to be a liaison with the LA Animal Services, or if you know anybody, Mel's the one in charge of that liaison group, I think.
I'm already part of the programs and services committee. Yeah. I can't do a lot. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah.
Thank you, Daisy. Do we have any other public comment? Please raise your hand or press *9 if you're dialed in. You have 2 minutes to speak. I don't see any other hands raised.
Okay, thank you, Fernanda. So next we're going to move on to item number 3, community and board announcements. 2 minutes per person. So if there's, we'll start with the community. If there's anybody from the community who has an announcement, you have 2 minutes to speak. Please raise your hand or press *9.
Let the record show I do not see any hands raised.
So I guess we'll just do board member announcements.
Actually, someone just raised their hand from the public side. Christina Carlos, you have 2 minutes to make an announcement.
Hello, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Hi, good evening. Horrible. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, good evening. It's my name is Cristina Carlos, yeah, from New Familia, and I'm just connecting today to find out what the status is for the MPGs and how is that going to work for being able to present on our request and on application status.
Okay, Christina, Vince is gonna make an announcement in a minute about it.
Oh, okay. All right, then. I'm sorry. I missed the few
Oh, no, it's
first.
totally
So I'm driving. So, okay. All right. Thank you. I'll wait then.
fine. Okay,
Thank you so much.
yeah.
Thank you, Christina. Any other attendee announcements? Please raise your hand or press *9. Otherwise, we will move forward with board member announcements. I don't see any other hands raised. Any board members have an announcement they would like to make? Please raise your hand. I don't see any hands raised, but I do have an announcement. I want to just give a quick summary of what happened at the gondola hearing last Thursday, a week ago. The Metro and City had a public hearing at St. Cathedral High School over in Chinatown. And the public comment section wasn't public at all. It was more of a go behind a white curtain and record yourself giving a private comment, and then that would be transcribed onto the website. The Stop the Gondola Coalition had a whole movement. There was media there, and the press video was released for Telemundo today, and there was community members speaking, and also the director of Cathedral High School was there speaking, and he called all of the people that were there protesting and speaking up immature for going against the gondola project. And I just wanted to quickly say that as an elected official, I do not support those kinds of words. I strongly disagree with that language used by the director of the Cathedral High School. I think as a community, we think about our entire community and how these projects affect everybody and not just like the top 1% of our communities. And so if you haven't caught up with what's going on with the gondola, definitely do that. And that's it on my end. If anyone else has any community announcements, please raise your hand or we will move on to the next agenda item.
We could always bounce back to it. I'm gonna go to item A for Selena. All right, Selena, do you want to just give a sort of synopsis on the elections protocol?
Yeah, so we had the election committee meeting this past Saturday. So just to go over the election. Give me 1 second.
Oh, I have a supporting doc too.
So candidate filing opens tomorrow, January 20th. It closes March 6th. Vote by mail requests begin March 21st and vote by mail requests close May 1st. And our actual election will be May 20th. So that's the timeline. If anybody would like to run for the neighborhood council, all of the open seats are posted actually on this agenda. The filing, candidate filing opens tomorrow. So if anybody would like to apply for any of those positions, they are, you can find them at empowerla.org.
Cool. And then could we, Vince or Fernanda, could you go to the supporting docs and show this sort of roster? So half of our board seats are up for election. So our council does it so that every 2 years, half the seats go up instead of just all in one swoop. So I double checked all the dates and all the seats and everything. We cannot elect any new board members 120 days before the election. So tomorrow is 120 days. So today we can still process any applicants. But yeah, I just wanted to, am I not seeing it? Is it possible to get it on the screen?
I don't see the roster unless you're talking about what I just pulled up.
I just don't see anything on my screen right now. So on the agenda, it says, okay, so if you scroll down, yeah, so scroll, so that's, so I made this document today and it has our all of our seats, right? And I've highlighted the ones that are going to be, you know, up for election. So some of those seats have people in them right now. Yeah, and then we do have vacant 2025 seats. So Ben, that 120 days also applies to the 2025 seats as well?
No.
No. Oh, okay, so we could.
Those are not up for election.
Okay, so I just kind of made this little spreadsheet and yeah, you can just see we do have a lot of vacancies and stuff, but and that's that. So everybody in the public can see that too. So in our supporting docs, I have a document. It says like apply to the council, and then it has the maps and it has the qualifications for the seats, the stakeholder qualifications, because we have area reps and stuff. So yeah, super interesting stuff. Cool. All right, so we'll move on to B. Announcements from the Planning and Land Use Committee. So there's a City Planning Commission hearing on January 24th for the Mission Road, Lincoln Park Ave, 7-story apartment building. And the agendas, or the actual agenda for that, the people who live next to it got an actual like notification. And it was only posted to City Planning site like last night or today. But so it's on the 24th. It's with a it's not a CPC meeting, it's like a city planning meeting. It's basically like our board has an official position on this project, right? We denied the project. But the mayor and, you know, there's this SB 330, right? Is that what it's called, Vince? And SB 8. So the mayor, Karen Bass, has like 35 projects in the pipeline she's expediting for housing or affordable housing. And this is one of them. And also the Avenue 24 5 lots thing is one of them. So the hearing is going to happen. And yeah, so just check out the agenda there on the whatever, the images on the agenda. It's a big deal. Vince, you want to do item C?
Yes, the Budget and Finance Committee is going to be having a meeting on February the 2nd. This is where we will be hearing the MPG applications. All MPG applicants received the packet or got the packet on their own, listing the requirements that are going to be needed to be able to apply. Whether you're applying directly as a nonprofit or you're using a nonprofit as a fiscal agent. We also ask that the nonprofits be up to date, both on the Franchise Tax Board, their local tax licensing with the City of Los Angeles, and that they're registered at the Secretary of State, so that there's no, issues. We will be checking all applicants to make sure they're up to date and they're current and standard and status. We will be asking questions and taking questions from the MPG, and the public's welcome to come in and have a discussion with the MPG applicants. And we will be setting a couple of standards for it, and the focus is that we've heard from the community and what the city has on MPGs, and then hopefully we can get some of the MPGs passed to the executive committee and then onto the general board for possible approval. If you make it to the general board, you're going to be able to make a presentation there, but we also ask for you to have a presentation ready for the February 2nd meeting. And the finalization of the approval of them will be at the general board meeting. And that's yet to be determined.
Okay, thank you. So
One more thing, those applicants that have submitted, if you have any questions, you can send it to my email at vincent.m.lhnc@gmail.com. Thank you. Sorry, Sarah.
sorry. Oh gosh, I have one more. Oh wait, Mel, do you have an announcement?
No, I'll email Kent. I had a question for him. I'll just email him.
Okay. I have an announcement for the community. A lot of people probably want to know an update on this, or they're curious about what's going on. So it's the 5 lots thing, the Avenue 24, 6 or 7 story tall apartment building, right behind the Bank of America on the city lots, right? So the thing was filed quickly, and then we heard it at the council. We denied the project or opposed it. The board opposed it. So over the holiday, city planning sent out a determination letter on the whole thing and approved it. Over, like, they sent it out to people within 500 feet or whatever of the site, because I guess with this new SB 330, they don't have to have any hearings, or they don't really have to. The only people who can appeal it are like people within so many feet of it or whatever. So they sent the determination letter out on December 22nd, and the appeal deadline was January 6th. So by the time people received the determination letter, the deadline had already, they had like 1 day to appeal. So I just want to update the community that things are happening very quickly, and it's pretty scary. We have new council members who haven't, there's just a new city attorney, just all these people that they're not privy to the old business or whatever was going on. So it's our duty as a council. We have to kind of inform them about what's going on. And it's unfortunate city planning didn't even email us about either of these hearings. They didn't even notify us of the Lincoln Park apartment building hearing or the 5 lots hearing or the determination. So I'm just very, it's just strange. And that's all I have to say. But I have supporting documents for both of the things with all the contact information for city planning. If anybody in the community wants to ring them up, go for it. Write letters. All right. So any other, Gil?
Yes, I'm sorry. I wanted to get back to the budget committee. Our first board meeting in February is February 2nd. So you're going to have a budget meeting before then to hear applications. And so when is that budget committee meeting?
Vince, did you say the 2nd or the 12th?
We had the 1st and the 3rd. So we're first board meeting is February 2nd.
Well, hold on. My mic was off. Sorry about that. Let me see. It is the 2nd. We can move it to the 1st. What I'll do is I'll check with the committee members to see what day they're available, either the 1st of February, or we can have it. It would have to be the 1st of February or the 31st of January.
Okay, remember you gotta have it. You're gonna have your meeting and you're gonna have your voting, and then you gotta have. It's gonna be a special. You're gonna have to get it to the board meeting for the next night. So there's gonna be some scurrying around. It depends on what time. Your meeting's got to be early in the afternoon or something like that. So you can come up with the stuff and get it on the agenda for the executive committee. And
so, like, if it's not the 2nd, if he doesn't have it before the 2nd, then he can have it before the 16th when the 2nd meeting is.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we just have a lot of business to go through, including land use stuff around that second meeting. Okay, any other board members with announcements? Yeah, all right. So we're gonna move on to government reports. If there are any elected public officials, city employees, commissioners, appointees on the line, please raise your hand or press *9 to speak for 2 minutes.
We have Jose Galdamez. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jose Galdamez with the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, the Neighborhood Empowerment Advocate for Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council. Just have a few updates for the board. As you know, neighborhood councils have been administering board meetings under the modified state government rules. This update is to confirm that the virtual meetings will continue until the end of February. The department is confirming that on March 1st of 2023, all Board Act, Brown Act bodies in the state will be returning to in-person meetings. The exemption will be those of neighborhood councils choosing to administer the meetings pursuant to the provisions of the AB 2449 bill. And then the department will be hosting info sessions for board members to assist with the transition to new government rules that will become effective on March 1st. And for those info sessions, we'll be providing the dates shortly to all neighborhood councils so that board members can start to reserve and attend those sessions and accordingly. Also, for the 2023 neighborhood council elections, and they're underway, 94 of 99 neighborhood councils holding elections this season. And NC elections take place in 12 different regional timelines between now and June 2023, with NCs in the same part of the city sharing a timeline. The candidate enrollment for Region 8, which is Lincoln Heights, starts tomorrow, which is January 20th, all the way to March 6th, 11:59 p.m. So, but on March 6th, for March 6th, you'll have until 11:59 p.m. to submit your candidate application. Yes, the deadline will be closing at that time. So you have all day to submit those. And then the election day for the neighborhood council would be for Saturday, May 20th, 2023. Please keep those dates in mind. Again, for anyone interested, please make sure you can go to the city clerk's website. You can go to clerk.lacd.org. Click on the elections tab, and then they'll have a tab for the neighborhood council elections. And in there they have instructions on how to run, especially registering through the candidate filing portal that they set up for the neighborhood council elections, and choosing the Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council, and then you select your seat to what you're applying and submit all the required information so that you can qualify as well. And if you have any questions, concerns, or any issues that may face through the candidate filing process, feel free to give a call to the City Clerk's Election Division. Their number is 213-978-0444. And they'll be able to assist you. Also, the candidate applications are also available on their site. There's paper applications. They're all they also translated in different languages as well. If you're having issues with online, you can also do the paper application and submitting it over to the city clerks via email or fax. And all that information is available on their site too, and on those paper applications. If someone fills out application itself. We do have candidate info sessions taking place, and we encourage everyone to attend those as well. So some of the upcoming ones would be Saturdays, February 18. That'll be Saturday, March 4th and Saturday, March 18. They're both from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So feel free to attend those sessions, get more information for the process for candidate filing, things to keep in mind as a candidate for the neighborhood council, campaigning, getting an understanding of what to expect as well as a board member as you're applying to join the board. I'll be sure to share the information out with the board too, and also trying to schedule like a session with the neighborhood council to do like a one-on-one with the committee or the president in order to just go over some of the resources that the department has available for neighborhood councils to use for outreach, especially for the elected.
Well, thank you, Jose.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So government reports. If there are any government officials on the line and you want to talk to the community, you have 2 minutes to speak. Please press *9 or raise your
Sarah, I have my hand raised. I wonder if I can talk to Jose or bring something up in that in the last subject.
Okay, I guess we could do. I don't want to go back and forth too much. Could you just email him a question or?
Well, no, it's if from what I understand, open meetings are going to be. You can start on March the 1st of March. Do we have a place to meet?
Yeah, see, this isn't the time to have that dialogue because we're working on that right now. So,
yeah, and something we can follow up offline as well.
Jose? Sorry, what?
We can follow up offline in regards to location if you have any questions pertaining to that.
Yeah, Nancy would, Gil, if you want to talk to Nancy, you could talk, she was the one spearheading that. So, okay, cool. Any other government reports? Please raise your *9. No?
We had Wendy C.
Oh, Wendy. Hello.
Hi, thank you so much. This is Wendy. I think Wendy Castro from Mayor Bass's office. I think my Zoom didn't recognize my signature that I normally have as my name. Apologies for that. I have a couple of things that I wanted to share with the Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council. Happy New Year to everybody, and thank you for allowing me to provide this report on behalf of the Mayor Bass office. So the first update is just in terms of a glimpse of what Mayor Bass has done in the first couple of weeks as mayor. On her first day, she declared a state of emergency on homelessness, and since then has signed 2 executive directives to address the homelessness crisis in our city. Executive Directive 1 will dramatically accelerate and lower the cost of building affordable housing and temporary housing in the city, while Executive Directive 2 launched the Inside Safe program. Inside Safe is a citywide proactive housing-led strategy to bring people inside from tents and encampments to interim and permanent housing. The first location for Inside Safe was off the 101 freeway off of Cahuenga Boulevard. The second location was announced the first week of January in Venice. The goal is to bring 17,000 additional folks indoors in her first year of office. And she works very closely with the council district in order to identify locations and has been working with your council member to be able to identify locations in Council District 1 to suggest and to make a priority. You can visit mayor.lacity.gov/press to learn more about Mayor Bass's executive directives. And Angelinos can also sign up for Mayor Bass's official newsletter by visiting mayor.lacity.gov/newsletter. I'll also be sending this report that I'm reading to the whole neighborhood council board. And so you all can put it in your minutes or share it with the community on your website. And it'll have the links on there so that you don't have to frantically write down the links that I'm reading off. I also wanted to thank you all for the patience in the transition of administration from mayor as well as your own council district. I actually was able to meet yesterday with 2 council district employees. They're still very much hiring and trying to fill positions. And so, you know, they just on my end, we just asked for a little bit of grace. Mayor Bass is giving herself until April to finalize her staff and organizational structure. So until then, I will be your point of contact for the neighborhood council with anything related to the mayor's office. At this moment, we're being told that we will find out towards the end of March if we will be staying on board or not with Team Bass. If I will not, I will definitely make sure to transition and do an introduction with the neighborhood councilors to the new person in my role. And as always, I can help support if there are no responses or you're having a hard time getting a hold of anybody at the council district. And I can connect to different departments, or I can reach out internally to different departments. I can be reached at wendy.castro@lacity.org. And then the Mayor Bass administration is still hiring. So you can visit jobs.lamayor.org/apply/mayor to submit your resume and cover letter. My next update is on the LA homeless count. The Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, LAHSA, opened registration for the 2023 Greater Los Angeles homeless count. LAHSA is seeking volunteers to cover 8,000 shifts. The homeless count will begin on Tuesday, January 24th in the San Fernando and San Gabriel valleys. Volunteers in East and West Los Angeles count on Wednesday, January 25th. And finally, the count will wrap up on Thursday, January 26th in the Antelope Valley, Metro, and South Los Angeles area. I will be sending a link for the neighborhood council to see how many slots are still available for volunteers. You can sign up as an individual or as a group at theycountwillyou.org. And then my last 2 updates are one of them is on the adjustments to COVID rental protections. On October 4th, 2022, the city council voted to end the eviction moratorium at the end of this month, January 31st. At the same time, the council adopted certain new renter protections, and they were discussed at length in yesterday's housing committee meeting. Renter protections, you can visit the Los Angeles Housing Department website at housing.lacity.org/highlights/renter protections to learn more about the renter protection starting on February 1st, 2023. State House LA does offer renter rights, virtual tenant workshops, and free legal services. And you can visit statehouseLA.org or call 1-888-694-0040 for more information. I have also been supporting constituents that have been reaching out in my area, which is everything east of the LA River, east of the 5 freeway, with issues regarding eviction. I've already started getting letters or notices, and I have been referring them to free legal services or the agencies that we have been working with to get them the services that they need. And tomorrow there will be an important vote to adopt a lot of the renter protections that are going to potentially go into effect on December 1st. I will also include a link in sharing this report with all of you on the council file so that all of you will have that information if you would like to call in and provide public comment on this very important matter. And my last one is on Lunar New Year celebrations. You can join the City of LA in celebrating the Lunar New Year at the LA Zoo. LA Public Library users get free tickets to the zoo through the city's Discover and Go passes. And all you need is an active library card to get these tickets. And that is my report on my end. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you, Wendy. I'll be following up with you via email. Thank you.
Of course, thanks.
Okay. Any other government officials on the line? You want to speak? Please press star 9 and raise your hand. No?
I don't see any.
We're gonna get to business now. Funding items. Now, we have 4 funding items, Vince. So I've made supporting documents. So we have 3 MERs. The city's been, there's been some issues with processing our financials. So we have to kind of do a bunch at once. Each one's gonna require a separate vote because it's a funding thing. And also, you can only vote on this if you've if you've completed your funding training. So, yeah. Vince?
Yep.
And so we'll do this kind of quick, and we'll just, when we do the vote, Vince, can we just like do the last names, like boom, 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 boom?
Yeah, we can just go down last name or first name, and then it's just as soon as people can vote as fast as they can, so just be ready.
Mm-hmm.
These will go pretty fast.
Okay.
Fernanda, can you bring it up, or do you want me to bring up the MERs? I don't know if you have them on supporting documents.
I have them on supporting docs. I made them all into one.
Okay.
Oh,
The MERs are not on the supporting docs.
yeah, they are. So it says funding items. That's the name of the supporting doc. Vince, can you also like just, you know how we have the funding portal with the pie graph that shows how much money we have?
Yeah.
So can you just give us a little briefing on our financials as well? I mean, after we do the MERs.
Okay, hold on. Let me get that because I wasn't ready for that, but I could bring it up. Okay, let me start with the MER, and Fernanda, I'll bring it up on my screen. Give me 1 second.
I have it.
Okay. Okay, so what you have here is the September of 2022 MER. Our only 2 expenditures was our public storage at 446.25, and then our mail website and constant contact monthly fee of 155 for a total of 601.25. The receipts and the invoices are attached. I don't know if they are on there, Fernando, if you could just show them.
Yeah.
Okay, and those are just the only 2 that we have. So what we're voting is to approve our expenditure as of let me see, of September 2022. Do I have a motion to?
I'll move.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Okay. So board member comment. Is there any board member comment? Please raise your hand. Not seeing any. Any public comment? Not seeing any. Okay, this is a vote, and it's going to go down, and everybody it's a person by person vote. So I'm going to start with Clendenning.
Yes.
Wadsworth.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Montalvo, yes. Soto.
Yes.
Madera.
Yes.
Leisers absent. Ginsburg.
Yes.
Hars.
Yes.
Shiflet.
Yes.
Landeros.
Yes.
Mora.
I'm still ineligible to vote on funding.
Okay. Ortiz.
Simon.
Arevalo.
I'm not able to fund. I don't have my up to date.
Okay, ineligible. Okay. Lucero.
Yes.
Ortega.
Yes.
Belemo.
Ineligible.
Okay. And Cabrera.
Ineligible.
Oh, sorry. Below, you said Belomo. Was that Angelo? Yes.
Angelo.
Okay. Yeah. Ineligible. Yeah.
Okay. Motion passes.
That's good. All right.
Okay. Fernanda, we can go to October's now. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me draw up October. Okay, here we go. So October is pretty much the same thing. It's our monthly expenditure report. Let me just get it here. In the month of October, we spent 390 on our public storage. We paid at that time we paid, I think it was 2 months. It was 395 again. We had our Halloween event that's going to be coming up on our next items for funding approval. We have to reapprove it. We spent 984 on Amazon, 7110 on Amazon, 553 on Hazard Park Candy, and then Halloween Candy Hazard Park. Jack's Candy 903.75. The month we spent 2,318.27. We have no outstanding expenditures, and then the receipts and everything are on the bottom. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, we need a second.
I second Esmeralda.
Esmeralda second. Okay, any board member comment?
Yeah, Vince, I have a comment. So we're getting we're hemorrhaging money on that public storage, right? We just ended up getting the one that the council already had, which is, as I'm seeing it, it's, how much is it a month? For something now? 400?
They raised it. It was 390, and then now we're up to 456 from the last.
So the size of the space is 10 by 10 feet. So that's about $4.50 a square foot. Wow. Yeah, so we should actively try to get a smaller space or a deal with them, because it's a lot of money.
For sure. I did reach out to them, and right now they currently don't have spaces that would be big enough to hold it, but as soon as they do, we'll transfer it over to a small one. I mean, we really condensed, me and Fernanda condensed that thing a lot, so we only really need probably half the size of it. So I asked them for a 5x5 to see if one becomes available.
Hey, you know how we have access priority to city properties, or we're supposed to, right? To a certain extent. The jail was always used for storage by the city, and maybe we should talk to the city and see if we could just store our stuff at the jail.
We could.
Parks and Rec, I think, is the jail now. Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because that's a lot of money every month, $500. Excellent.
Okay. Is there any more comment from board members? Okay, closing board member comment. We're going to open it up to public comment. Anybody in the public that wishes to make a comment, you can raise your hand or push *9. Okay, not seeing any. This is a vote again, one by one, and we're going to go down the line. Clendenning?
Yes.
Wadsworth?
Yes.
Sanchez?
Yes.
Montalvo, yes. Soto?
Yes.
Madera?
Yes.
Elias? This is Didia. Okay, sorry, I had a miss. The Lizer, she's absent. Ginsburg?
Yes. Yes.
Har?
Yes.
Shiflet?
Yes.
Landeros?
Yes.
Laura?
Ineligible?
Okay. Ortiz?
Simon.
Evalo?
Ineligible.
Okay. Lucero?
Yes.
Ortega?
Yes.
Lomo? Angelo?
Sorry, ineligible.
And Cabrera?
Ineligible.
Okay. Motion carries.
Oh, that was a big one.
Yeah.
Who's on that one?
Hold up in what is it? November's.
Mhm. Scroll on down there.
Okay, here we go.
November's is on this document. There you go.
Okay. So November. We didn't have no storage because that's what was paid in October. I paid it at the last month ahead of time. So that's why we had 2 charges on that one. There's no expenditures and there's no outstanding balance. Nothing was spent in this month. The total is 0. We have a motion to,
I'll move.
okay, second,
Second.
Ben seconds. Board member comment? Not seeing any. Public comment? You can raise your hand and push *9 if you're on the landline. Okay, not seeing any. We're closing it. We're now voting on the monthly expenditure report for November of 2022. Clendenny,
Yes.
Wadsworth,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Montalvo, yes. Soto,
Yes.
Madera,
Yes.
Delizer, absent. Gunsberg, Gunsberg,
Yes.
thank you. Har,
Yes.
Shiflet,
Yes.
Landeros. Landeros,
Sorry. Yes.
thank you. Laura,
Ineligible?
thank you. Ortiz,
Simón.
Arevalo,
Ineligible.
Lucero,
Yes.
Ortega,
Yes.
Palomo, Angelo,
Ineligible.
thank you, and Cabrera.
Ineligible.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Great, thank you. One more of the candies next.
Okay, here we go. So this, just to bring up on this particular item, this item was already previously voted on. We're re-voting on it because of charges, card charges that were put onto it, and an item that took us over the edge of the budget. So we're now voting on $1,550. So basically the same items, and these were given out at the Hazard Park Halloween event, with other supplies that we had with it. So do we have a motion to approve the funding up to $1,550 for Hazard Park Halloween event?
Yeah, Vince, I have the document. Is this your document, Vince?
Yes.
Because the one that I have on the website, it has the 1550 on it. Just so you know.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve?
I motion Esmeralda.
Okay, Esmeralda, and then is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's second. Okay, any board member comment?
Just really quickly, the document that I'm sharing is the one from the website. So I don't know if that's,
Let's see, maybe I screwed up.
and I want to kindly remind board members that if you're not speaking, to please have your mic muted so that there's no interference. Thank you.
Yeah, and just for a reminder, what we're voting on is the budget originally was 1,500, and we're adding 1,550. The amount is lower than the 1,550. Okay. So I don't see no more board member comment. We're gonna open it up to public comment. If there's anybody in the public that wishes to make a comment, you can use *9 or raise the little yellow hand. Okay, not seeing any. This is a roll call vote. We're gonna start with Clendenny,
Yes.
Wadsworth,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Montalvo, yes. Soto,
Yes.
Madera,
Yes.
Lizer, absent. Gunsberg,
Yes.
Har,
Yes.
Yes.
Shiflet,
Yes.
Landeros. Landeros,
Yes.
thank you. Laura,
Ineligible?
Ortiz,
Simon.
Arevalo,
Ineligible.
Lucero,
Yes.
Ortega,
Yes.
Belemo, Angelo, Angelo?
Disqualified.
Okay, thank you. And Cabrera,
Ineligible.
motion carries.
Motion carries. Sorry I make so much noise. Motion carries. Thank you. And Vince, I just want to mention real quick. So on that funding portal, we have funds, right? So we still have some things we haven't purchased yet, like business cards, which we've voted on and approved, and also a button maker, which we will need for the elections, right? For swag. Also tote bags, I think we voted on, and then we very much need the PO box. So if the city, I guess they have to go with you to the post office to get it, but we have no mailing address.
So right now, what you're seeing before you is the most updated for Lincoln Heights. We currently had started off with the 32,000. We now have our new budget with 10,000, which was the adjustment we got. So our budget now is 42, or what we started out with. Our expenses to date, 5,132 with 2 cents. We have no outstanding budget or payments or anything. The net that we have to this day is $36,867.98. And just to keep in mind, the general purpose, like what we have here, our neighborhood purpose grants, we have allotted 12,500 that can change. So those that are applying for MPGs, if you don't get an MPG this time, there will be another cycle just before the end of the fiscal year as we start to wrap up. We did agree in a general meeting and we wanted to use a lot of our money through outreach to start reaching out to the community in different projects. So we can partner with people outside to do that. And that's something we can discuss later down the road through outreach. Our community improvement project, we put $5,000 into it. And then we have our general operations, which we have 24,500, which outreach has a budget of its own in the general fund. And this particular pie chart is available to the public, but what you're looking at is the actual funding portal from the city of LA. This is the one I looked through with as the treasurer.
You can look at all the other NCs and see how much they spend on things.
Correct.
So, but I want everybody to know, yeah, we haven't had in-person meetings for a couple of years now, but when we do have in-person meetings, we have to pay a fee when we use the space, and it's getting up there. I think it's maybe $200, and then we have translators and stuff, so it's going to add up.
Yeah, it gets expensive real fast, but that's why we'll revisit this budget many times to make sure that we have everything in line for the future. There's even an election budget. And you can even look at, we have our annual approved fiscal budget, and you can see that we did a lot of money to the elections there too. So that can be used in many different ways.
Vince, what if the NC wanted to buy like a minivan that's like a classroom to turn it into like a bookmobile or something? Like, could the NC buy a minivan, like an old minivan?
I don't think it could.
Oh.
But we can partner with a nonprofit to do that.
Do you have public attendees whose hand is raised?
Question.
Ben?
Yeah, are we going to have in-person meetings, or are we still going to do Zoom?
Well, Ben, I got some news for you. So for the elections, right, we proposed the election site we wanted for the council, right, for May. So we selected the senior center. And the second choice we chose was the library. Well, the city emailed us and they said, Parks and Rec says that the senior center is not available to you. So, I mean, it's an inconvenience, right? But it's kind of like a harbinger. It's like, okay, well, if it's not available.
I'm sorry, point of order. This is Jared Gunsberg.
Yeah, Jared, what's up?
This is just, this is interesting for sure, but this is not on the agenda and in the interest of the attendees. I think this is digressing from the attendance.
I mean, this hasn't gone through. Okay, sorry, Jared. But back to in-person meetings, it's going to be a big deal. I don't know. We have a big board, and that's a big deal, Jared. So, yeah, hopefully we can get the place where we've always been. All right. So now, Vince, did we take any action on any item? Should we move on to the next item?
Yeah, I did everything in the funding, but we did have a public person raise their hand.
Right.
I don't know if you want to allow them because public comment was closed. We can move on.
So people, yeah, there's just so much stuff in the air.
Okay, we can move on to the next item.
Okay, so committee reports, executive committee. So the minutes, it's like I have I've been very sick and the minutes are not done. So but the videos are on YouTube and we will have all the minutes soon. 6, discussion of possible action on letter to CD1 requesting office space. So we've written multiple letters. I have a supporting document here. So Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council for years had an office space on Broadway across from the high school. And it was taken away from the NC after the last election. We never got to use the office space, but Cedillo took it, and then Kevin, with the redistricting, then Kevin got it, and then I called Kevin's office, and I said, hey, we'd really like to have our office back. And they said, oh, well, that's water under the bridge. Good luck. And yeah, so but we it's I have identified hundreds of city-owned properties that we could use for an office space, and I've proposed some of them to the city, like a storage container at Lincoln Park at the skate park. They said no, but we have to have an office space on Broadway, a drop-in center where the community can come in and get information and talk, right? Where we can do our outreach. So we have I have multiple letters, but it's basically to Ulysses and just saying, yeah, can you help us identify some spaces in Lincoln Heights that you could advocate, help us get or whatever. And I don't know where she's setting up her council offices, right? She might move out of Highland Park, but whatever. So I think it's super, super, super important.
I think it would be a good idea if every board member got in contact with our elected officials to apply pressure for a public office for us, especially since it's a requirement to do in-person or hybrid meetings starting March. And if we don't have a space to operate, then I already know they're going to come after us for violating Brown Act or something like that. So I
still have stuff there. We still have our stuff at the old office, and the city has our mailing address as the office that we were kicked out of.
So yeah, I encourage all hands on board for this one.
Our elected officials actually have to reach out to us and give us their phone numbers and email addresses.
But they're doing that, so I think we should definitely do it.
Yeah, and our old office, we could probably just walk over there and check it out and then use the space because our stuff is there. I don't know. Oh. I'm sitting on a park bench. That's my office. All right, so we have a letter. It's just an attached document saying what I said. Please help us find a space. So anybody want to move on this or second or anything?
I'll move on this, make a motion.
Yeah, this is something we've been going at for a while now.
I second Jared's motion.
Okay. Any board member discussion?
Jared, again, quick question, I guess. For those of us who reside in CD 14, do we have any idea who we would call?
Are you talking about the council member? Oh, for Kevin.
Well, I know who are, yeah. I mean, is there anybody in his, is there anybody, is their office open? Is it functioning? Is it?
No, they told me that they wouldn't give us our office back because they were trying to renovate it. It was needed a lot of work for their drop in, whatever, CD14 office. So it was never set up. So, but the person who is helpful is Cynthia.
Cynthia Cruz would be our contact. She used to log into the meetings, but nobody from Kevin's office has been in our meetings for quite some time now.
Yeah, it's very tumultuous what's going on.
Okay, thank you. I as a board member who lives in 14, I can reach out to Ms. Cruz for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, the office is important. It's not just an office where we work, it's where we have our committee meetings. Okay. So, yeah. Cool. Okay. Any board member discussion, please raise your hand.
I have a question. It's Christina.
Yeah.
Hi, for the letter, I'm sorry, excuse me if I missed it or if it's there. Can we see it, what you wrote, or can you just read what you wrote to us exactly?
I was going through my millions of files, so I've written multiple, the board has taken action on this multiple times.
Okay.
So I have I couldn't find the mega one, but I have all the documents from the city since 1980 when the firehouse was acquired by Ed Reyes, by Art Snyder, and he had a Big Brothers Big Sisters program there and a PCA mural program, and later it was built out for the NCs. So it's a whole like almost legal document, but I don't know what supporting docs I have.
Okay, I was just waiting for the current one requesting this. I mean, if it's a new letter requesting like space again, if it's a whole new letter, that's it.
Yeah, it's
yeah. If it was the one that popped up, then that's cool. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mhm.
No, that was the incorrect one.
Oh.
If we could pull, I could Google the original letter, but so it was sent to the city attorney, basically, this letter before, but now we're just going to the new council member and the new city attorney.
And sending the same letter.
Pretty much, yeah, because they're not like Mike Fear was there for so long, right? So all of the business we've been dealing with the fires and all these things, it's now we have to basically teach the new part, like tell them what's been going on here. So
I understand. Thank you.
We have a public attendee's hand raised.
Mhm.
Christina Carlos.
Hi, guys. I just wanted to say that if you are in need, meanwhile, until you get your office space that I've offered before, that we have our office in the second floor there at Steve Kasten's building on Broadway. So 2716, that it's not a huge office, but I don't know, you can fit like maybe 15 people easily around our tables. So anyway, if you're in need of space until you are settled someplace, my office is available to you.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
I think it has to be ADA compliant.
I know. That's why for the nonprofit too. Yeah, I know it's an issue. We need to find a bottom of a ground floor space. So, yeah, I know. Sorry.
Or the pavilion at Lincoln Park that they locked up and now ran out. All right. Any other?
Thank you.
Thank you, Christina.
We have Daisy's hand raised.
Daisy?
Really quick, in reference to space, what about the Boys and Girls Club? Just a thought.
Yeah.
It's not on the first floor.
Because it's a private thing, right? So the city like kind of, Vince, what is it with like gifts and stuff? Like we have priority on all city properties, so we should just get those. But I mean, Vince, are you there?
Yeah.
Like I know that the NC used to hold meetings at like at different nonprofits, right? Like at El Arco. Alarka, and then at Lincoln High School, and then the library basement. I think the library charges $300. Now, do some NCs just get their offices from like real estate people who have like storefronts and just donate them to them or something? Like, or do they just rent it out? Like,
Usually they rent it out, but the main problem with all that's happening right now is they have to be ADA compliant.
mhm.
So there's a whole process. That's why they started making us go through that whole process with the city. Because even they, everyone is suing right now for the ADA. And so if you don't, if you have like a step, like some of our businesses on Lincoln, on Broadway,
Uh-huh.
have to step up to get into their store. And if you notice on the door, there's now a handicap sign with a doorbell on it. Well, that wasn't ADA compliant. You have to be compliant on all those things. So I know that's an issue, but we could ask the city to see if they would donate it, the space, but I don't know how that works with them. And the city gets iffy on it.
We have access to LADWP, Department of Sanitation, all the departments too.
We
Cool.
have Jose Galdamez hands up.
Is it?
Yeah, as in regards to like spaces, it's either a lease agreement. I think with facilities for cities, sometimes there just needs to be like an agreement letter to let the neighbor council use the space. And that way it's something that they can rely on as far as like they're going to be meeting like on X date every month. And that's something that needs to be resubmitted every year to the city clerk. In regards to the other spaces for retail, they just have to go through the process of filing for a lease agreement, which the city clerk would then require, I think, a couple of documents, and that will require board action too, to look into the space and come up with the lease agreement, so that neighbor council will then be able to occupy it.
Cool. Thank you. All right. We're gonna find a space. Cool.
Thank you, Jose.
So we,
And we have Wendy's hands up.
Wendy?
I'm more than happy to support in trying to find a location for y'all. I know when I was on the neighborhood council for Boyle Heights, we would meet at the library and schools for committee meetings and different stuff. So I'm surprised that that's not a possibility. But I'm more than happy to reach out to contacts internally and work with Jose to help y'all find. And if someone can just email me, that way I know who that head contact person is from the NC, and I could support in identifying a location for y'all.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh, I
Thank
hit
you.
up CD14 like way back, like last year, just real quick. So I had made the proposal for Lincoln Park for the shipping container there, but our actual office, the firehouse, has a huge courtyard in the back. And so I proposed to Cynthia, I said, hey, can we get a storage container there and make a sort of like outdoor NC thing? And she said, that's a great idea. So I don't know. Yeah, let's do it.
I'll reach out to Cynthia tomorrow. And Sarah, I'll email you and, just work with you, as well as work with CD1, even though they don't have a field officer yet in Lincoln Heights or a field person yet in Lincoln Heights. I can still contact them internally and just see what we can do.
Yeah, having a space to get together in Lincoln Heights we need it so bad. All right. So do we have a motion and a second on this? Should we go for a vote?
We already have it. We're taking public comment. So we close public comment and it's ready for a vote.
Yeah, okay.
Great. I'm gonna go through the vote.
We could do a majority vote on it.
So all those in favor, the motion is to forward that letter, correct?
Yeah, it's just the old letter.
Requesting an office space. Motion presented by Jared, seconded by Vincent. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say no. Is it nay? I don't know.
Of course.
I don't hear any abstentions. I don't hear any, so it's a unanimous yes with 17 yeses. Motion carries.
Motion carries. Excellent. Are there any board members who want to read the next item and do the official announcement on the vacancies? I don't want to be talking all the time. How about Richard, Area 5 rep? Richard, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, Richard, can you read the next item, please? It is item number. Okay, so it's 7, announcement. Can you make the announcement, please?
I think my thing's messing up. Give me a sec.
Oh, yeah. Phone.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My phone is kind of
I'll
cracked
just
up.
read it right now. Announcement. All right, does that want to read it?
Yeah, okay, so announcement of the Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council vacancies, youth rep, 2023, business rep, 2025, community-based organization rep, 2023, area 3 rep resident, 2025, area 4 rep at large, 2025, area 4 representative resident, 2023, and area 6 rep resident, 2023.
All right, cool. Thank you, Selena. And then discussion and possible action to appoint stakeholders to the following vacancies. Now, today's the last day, well, for 2023 seats that we could fill vacancies. Secretary Sanchez or Vince or Ben, have we received any applications?
I have not received any.
I have not received any.
Fernanda?
I received an application for Area 3 rep. I went ahead and forwarded that to the executive board. The applicant is Anna Maria Ballart Wolf. I see that she is on the attendee side logged in right now.
Okay, so that would be for Area 3 rep resident.
Let me just double check her application.
2025. Okay, and yeah, we don't have to pull it up, but so we're gonna Ben, we have one applicant, so we can vote on the applicant, correct? We don't need to like have two, I think.
We can vote on the one that we have, yes.
Okay, so we'll just roll with it. So Anna Marie, let's see. Oh, Anna Marie Diaz Ballart. You could speak for 2 minutes and introduce yourself. Fernanda, could you elevate her to
Anna Maria, you've been promoted to panelist.
Hi, Anna Marie. Oops, it's muted. So Anna Marie, I can't hear you. Let's see.
Can you hear me now?
Hi, Anna Marie. So this is like 2 minutes for you to like sort of introduce yourself to the community and to the board, and just talk about like what you're,
Yeah, give us a little introduction on yourself, what motivated you to apply. Then we're going to move forward with questions from the community, and then the board members will have a chance to ask you questions, and then we'll move forward with a vote.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for taking my application, and it's an honor to meet all of you and chat with you. My family recently relocated from New York. I'm a mom of 2 young kids, and we live in sub area 3 on Alta Street. I know that I'm new to the neighborhood, but I have long background of community activism and working in my neighborhoods. In New York, I served as treasurer for the economic development organization that was in my neighborhood, and have devoted the free time that I have to serving my neighbors and I guess helping wherever I could. I absolutely love this neighborhood and I feel so incredibly blessed to have gotten to move here with my family. And I hope that, through the neighborhood council, I'm able to continue to serve my neighbors, and I'd love to answer any of your questions. And I don't know, that's it.
Thank you. All right. So we'll start with the public. Anybody from the public, do you have a question for Anna Marie? Please raise your hand or press *9. You have 2 minutes. Okay. We'll go to the board members. Sorry, Fernanda, I'm overstepping.
You're totally fine. We have Esmeralda.
Hi, I'm Esmeralda. I'm from Area 7, and I was wondering what you like about Lincoln Heights so far, and what you want to improve, sorry, if you have any.
I mean, I think that it's just an incredibly beautiful neighborhood. As a New York transplant, I'm kind of overwhelmed by the big streets and all the greenery, and we're really close here to the park, and I guess further anything in relation to green space, because I do have little kids. I'm out on the street pushing a stroller, and I think that parks and green space and people's access to transportation, especially as a stroller pushing mom, is kind of relevant to me. But I would be open to advocating for anything if I saw it kind of as a benefit to the community.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Anna Marie, I have a quick question. So you're on Alta. You're south of Broadway on Alta, where it ends there?
Yeah, I'm below Broadway.
Okay, so you're in Area 3. I was just double checking our little map thing. Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Christina.
Hi, Anna. Thank you for coming today. I just had a quick question. From New York, what made you relocate to? How did you pick Lincoln Heights to relocate to? I'm curious.
I mean, honestly, we had two babies in a really tiny New York apartment, and all through the pandemic, we had wanted to be in more open space, and this puts us a little bit closer to family. And so just it took many years to make the move, but I'm really happy we were able to finally relocate.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jared.
Yes, hello. I'm Jared Gunsberg. I also live in Area 3. I'm the at-large rep, and was once a New York transplant a very long time ago. So my question for you is about your work in New York and the public service work you did in New York. And I'm wondering if you could elaborate on that a little bit more.
Okay, for the last 4 years, I served as treasurer for the Grand Street Bid, which is a nonprofit economic development organization. formed in East Williamsburg, which is a predominantly Latino community. And a lot of New York, let's say, economic development has a lot to do with the literal fabric of neighborhoods, because everybody in Brooklyn lives, you know, on the second, third, and fourth floor above, you know, above the commercial floor, which is the street level. I you know, seen how a group of organized, active community members can really serve their community. My husband and I owned a bicycle shop within the confines of that district, and I came to it originally from bicycle and transportation advocacy, but I don't know, it was a powerful group for me to be a part of, and I would love to bring that same energy to my new home here in Lincoln Heights.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. I did see a public hand up by Daisy, and I wanted to give that opportunity if it was all right. Daisy, I'm gonna go ahead and unmute you.
Pretty quick, I started driving, but I did have a question. How long have you been living here in Los Angeles?
I moved very recently in the last month and a half.
Thank you. We're gonna move back to board member comment. We have Melanie.
Thanks, Fernie. Hi, Anna Maria. Thanks for being here tonight, and welcome to Lincoln Heights. I'm very lucky to live here. I had a couple of questions, and I just also wanted to voice some concerns, so I hope you could speak on those things. And I just want to preface this with saying, just trying to get some like clarity, and we are always, or at least I'm always a little, sorry, dogs and kids, a little nervous on new people entering the neighborhood for some reasons that I'm sure you'll learn very soon, but let me step outside. I was wondering if you've had any time to kind of familiarize yourself with like the unique challenges of Lincoln Heights, and like the things that we fight for. If you have any kind of like semblance of what those things are, or like kind of what's most important to a lot of us on the board. And then I also just wanted to kind of maybe say, I think my concern is that you haven't been here very long. And I know that like, it could be considered that like any low income, you know, multi-generational household neighborhood could be like any other one across the country. But I do really feel like Lincoln Heights is particularly special in that regard with our community here. So I would love to see you like as a committee member on some of our committees that we have, so you could get some time to really understand this neighborhood and its needs, like prior to joining as like a full-on board member. Because I mean, saying this as a white interloper here, I'm concerned about my community and the decisions that we make for them, and making sure that they're being made mostly by people who are intimately aware with our difficulties here. Okay, thanks. Sorry, that was really long.
No, I appreciate everything that you've brought up, and I do, you know, if I could just, you know, have a moment to speak to that. You know, in my history of serving on boards and, you know, working in community activism, it is, I think, a little bit unusual for me to have the idea that the entire board has one position or one way of viewing something. If anything, you know, when I considered making my application to this board, it was with the idea that there are a multitude of voices in this neighborhood, and that maybe I'm not the most, you know, versed in, you know, the issues of most pressing concern, but that all of us bring a sort of a unique perspective to this work. And in looking at a board with with vacancies, someone just has to step up, and are you the person that is out there sweeping the sidewalks in the morning? Like, you at a certain point, you kind of have to decide to to get involved, and there isn't a great a perfect recipe for how when is the right time. I'm a mom. My kids are enrolling in public school, and I'm a user of the streets and of public transportation. And if that's where I see, the contributions that I could add, then so be it. I'm certainly not coming in to to promote my viewpoints over anybody else's. Just sort of stepping in where it seemed there was a vacancy. And
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for applying, Anna Maria, and thank you for taking the time to be here. I have two questions. One, I do want to echo the sentiment that you've been here for less than 2 months, and being a neighborhood council member means that you are representing your community, and that's a very big responsibility for Area 3 and for Lincoln Heights. There are a lot of challenges that we are currently facing, and it's important to be pretty well-rounded in that when committing to representing a community such as ours. If for whatever reason you're not able to get a general board seat, my question is, would you be open to being a part of a committee? We have 7 committees, and they are a different range of things that I think could interest you. And then the second question I have is, in your application, you mentioned that you are a believer in new American businesses. Can you elaborate a little on what that means and what that would mean for Lincoln Heights?
I mean, to me, again, with my, my background in, with the bid in New York, I think that, I mean, the fabric of community is created by, by new American businesses. And it's what enriches the neighborhood. It isn't outside developers coming in. It is, the development that happens from within that makes our neighborhoods wonderful and fantastic to live in.
Thank you. Next, we have Sylvia.
Can you hear me? Hi, Anna Maria. Anna Maria, right?
Yeah.
Actually, give me one quick second. So sorry, 1 second. There we go. Hi, Anna Maria. First of all, welcome to Lincoln Heights. Yeah, I have a couple of questions. First of all, I think because of your background, because of your community organizing background, also just the way you present yourself, and I'm sure all of the experience that comes with the public and being in the public sphere as a volunteer, I would invite you to come to our Lincoln Heights Tenants Union meetings. It's a wonderful group of people that we just put together all of our knowledge, resources, and experience to help the most vulnerable people of our community who are being priced out because of people who are coming into the neighborhood and pricing them out. I think it's a wonderful way for you to kind of hit the ground running here, getting really in touch with your community at a ground level, understanding the concerns of the community, and also we would really benefit from all of that community organizing background that you do have. So I wanted to first of all extend the offer for you to come to our meetings. They're twice a month on Wednesdays, and they're on Altura Street in the church. So I can have a board member, maybe Fernanda, pass the info over to you. So I wanted to extend that over to you. They're also bilingual, English and Spanish. It'd be great to have you. I completely agree with you that it's a diversity of the community that really does make up what it is. I think a little bit of a concern of mine is also touching on not just the limited time here, because regardless, you are part of our community now, but I do also know, having been somebody that's from LA, lived here, moved to New York, it takes me more than a couple months to actually get acclimated and become part of that community and understand my surroundings and the people around me, what's necessary, the culture, etc. So that's personal to me. I do think it takes a little bit longer than that, but I also want to say that I'm really happy that you were so honest and upfront with the board as far as your time here. That's great. And we appreciate that. So it's not only the limited amount of time here, but also the time that you spend here, maybe understanding at a ground level what Lincoln Heights needs, I think would possibly give you also a different opinion on the American business. Not to say that it doesn't make up, not to say that it doesn't make up a community, but you have to understand that here in Lincoln Heights, there's also a very large undocumented population, a lot of street vendors that do make up that community as well. So it's not necessarily new American business. And that's something that we can familiarize ourselves as we're here. That's it on my end.
Thank you, Sylvia. Next we have Gilbert.
Good evening. As I just wanted to point out that like many like you, Anne Marie, I'm not born and raised in Lincoln Heights like most of the board members. In fact, I've only been in Lincoln Heights for like 7 years, but I came over here to help my son start his business up, and I did that for a couple of years, and then like all community-minded people, I applied to the neighborhood council. And adults who are get involved in neighborhood communities and everything else like that, they'll do that everywhere they go. And I don't, and like I said, I looked around, and what did I want to do while I'm here, and get involved with the community. So I can identify with you, and I think it's anyone, we should welcome anyone who has an interest in the community, the betterment of the community, the maintenance of the community, and everything of that sort. So they're very far and few in between, honestly. I'm sure you realize that. So I would welcome it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gil. Next we have Sarah.
Hi. Yeah, hey, so yeah, the history of bids, it's like a rocky road, right? It's about the privatization of the commons and obliteration of the public square, and where the public right of way is sort of it becomes under the jurisdiction of landowners, right? And then they control the streets, right? Cleaning, sweeping, graffiti removal, policing, 4118, right? So like we don't really have we don't have a common area, the public square in Lincoln Heights, really. The council is sort of our public square. But Lincoln Heights isn't about the infrastructure or shops or capitalism or businesses. Like, it is the people. They're 77% renters. So people don't need much to, have culture or meaning. But being on a council, it's not like you're volunteering like at a shelter, like an animal shelter or something. You're an elected public official. There's a responsibility, there's a duty, but it's like also very hard. just, it's a lot of commitment. And like, it's just learning about how to affect change at the, like, to move up, like to affect change in City Hall, right? Bypass a lot of political theater. Why did you go straight to the NC, a political, or, you know, a bid is a NGO, a pseudo political or governmental org. You came to the NC, which is a governmental org. Why didn't you go to like a whatever, like a different sort of nonprofit or something? How come you came directly to a government org when you don't really know much about the history of the area, or even just like how, like the LA City Charter and stuff? It's like kind of boggling, or daunting, right? Like if I moved to New York City, I would have a lot to learn, I think. I don't know.
I'm here to, you know, be a part of the community and serve my community. And I think that, you know, bids in New York really run the gamut from what you're describing to, you know, our bid was mostly focused on rat infestation and hanging Christmas lights. And yeah, I mean, making sure that things were, you know, that trash was getting picked up in the pandemic. And, you know,
so like, could a homeless person be on the bid, or is it only property owners that pay money into the bid?
So I've never been a property owner in New York, and I was there because you know, my husband and I had a bicycle repair shop, and that's, you know, and I went to community board meetings for years and years and years. And eventually there was a chance for me to serve on the bid. And,
so you have experience on an executive board. So
of my bid. Yes. Yeah. I served as treasurer there.
Or the treasurer on that. Okay. Interesting. All right. And yeah, for instance, like 4118, like bids are often tools used by government because it's a pseudo-governmental agency to carry out unconstitutional laws in LA against the people, right? Like 4118.
I think that I totally hear what you're saying, and you're maybe painting with some pretty broad brush strokes. Specifically, you know, East Williamsburg, our bid goes back to the 70s. It was formed with the St. Nick's Alliance, which was the Catholic charity in the neighborhood. It had a microscopic funding and all of 8 blocks, and we just were there trying to make the neighborhood a better place for the people that lived and worked there. We didn't have police, you know.
It's kind of like a homeowners, because it's a nonprofit, right?
It is a nonprofit, yeah.
Homeowners association, but like in the public square.
Well, yeah, but nobody owns a home there. Everybody rents from the businesses, and there aren't homeowner associations. I mean, maybe there are, not in East Williamsburg.
We have 2 more board member hands up, if that's okay. Cool. We're gonna move to Chente.
Thank you. I think what worries me is the background of being on a bid. And and it may have been in a small town or in a town, but you know, bids have a lot of influence in Los Angeles, and sometimes not understanding the LA way, right, might be different than New York. They're looked at it very negatively. American businesses were never included into brown and black communities, as the history has shown us. Far too often, when we hear of entrepreneur opportunities or any type of help, let's say, it's usually not for the people who have lived in the community for such a long time. A lot of people will debate that and say that's not true, but I've been doing a lot of the research on gentrification, since the early, 2010s, when it was showing up on the city files. And our communities are wiped out. Currently, Lincoln Heights' businesses are being wiped out. Highland Park's businesses are being wiped out. Echo Park's businesses wiped out. And I think sometimes when people enter into the community and they mean well, sometimes they mention bids or their background, that's going to be a huge trigger, as we're seeing in the city. The issues are heating up on equitability and real change within our communities, so that our communities could survive. It's unfortunate that in 2023, we don't have equitability. We don't have a community of our own. They're still fighting these same battles of segregation and racist policies. So I think, in my opinion, sometimes on some of what other board members I can agree with is maybe sometimes it's better to go into committees first, get to understand what you're dealing with, to then come in and really get a grip on what's out there, because it's definitely in a changing point of politics and business. And there's so much tension out there right now that the one thing we don't want to bring into our community is any more negative. And not to say that you are, but we definitely want to find the real positive. And I think that's where we're all at right now, to figure out what these guiding principles are going to be into the future, because our environment is changing dramatically, and not for the people of Lincoln Heights. Thank you.
Thank you, Chente. I see we have 2 more board member hands up, but they've already spoken. Sarah, do you want to recognize them, or should we move on?
My hand was raised by mistake. This is Jared, so I'm lowering my hand.
I don't know if Sarah is there, but I'll go ahead and...
I didn't know I was muted. Yeah, Sylvia, if you just want to make it real quick, Mel or Sylvia with your question.
I'll let Mel go. That's fine.
Okay, I'll make it quick. Thanks. I appreciate the extra time. Anna Maria, I just want to make sure, I feel like this needs to be expressed, that we've just seen firsthand on this council, because a lot of us were attending these meetings before we are on the board, that it's really hard to do something good for the community while on this council, but it's really easy to cause harm to our community while on this council. And that's, I know it's just like a volunteer position, and like, you just want to, like, obviously we all want to just be a part of our community and try and do what's best. But like, Lincoln Heights is so specific on our needs and the damage that has been done and continues to happen to our community. And I just want to kind of like explain why everyone is so gun shy, because we've been through and watched our community go through so much, and it's continuing to go through so much direct harm and death and abuse. So I just wanted to just kind of verbalize that.
No, I mean, I really appreciate everybody's, feedback. I certainly did not apply to advance my own agenda or advance any type of business agenda. I came here purely to serve in a volunteer capacity, and with the training that I have in boards and ethics and nonprofit and community service, I saw a vacancy, and in my experience, sometimes the most dangerous thing to community is apathy and a lack of people willing to serve. And that is the only reason why I advanced myself. I literally have no agenda of my own, and only my experience to contribute.
You, Anna. I don't see any other hands raised, so I think we're moving this to a vote. Is that correct?
Did we go to the public yet? The community?
We had one attendee raised, but I'll go ahead and announce it again. If anyone in the public has any comments or questions, please raise your hand now or press *9. I don't see any hands raised. Right, so does a motion need to be presented for this, or do we just go straight to a vote?
We need somebody to motion and there needs to be a second.
Okay. Is there a motion to accept the application for Anna Maria as Area 3 at-large representative?
So move.
Ben Wadsworth presents the motion. Is there a second? Going once.
Second.
Sylvia seconds. And we're gonna go ahead and move forward with a vote.
Could we do a majority vote, Vince, on this, or do we have to do individual?
I'll do one by one.
Okay.
Sarah?
No.
Ben?
Yes.
Chente?
No.
Fernanda? No. Annalie?
No.
Sylvia?
No.
Melanie?
No.
Didier is excused. Jared?
Yes.
Gil? Gil?
Gil is, yes.
Richard?
Charlotte.
That's no. Steve?
Yes.
Benny?
No.
Christina?
No.
And Selena? Selena Ortega? I'll go back to you. Esmeralda?
No.
Nancy?
No.
And Angelo?
Sorry, no.
And going back to Selena Ortega? No response from Selena. That's still 16 members quorum. That is 12 noes and 4 yeses. Motion does not carry.
This is Jared. If I could just speak out of order briefly to make a pitch for our applicant to join the Programs and Services Committee, which we do need members of the community.
I'll
Anna Marie, I was like following the NC for like probably 4 years, and then I just ended up joining it, but we have all these committees. That's what work gets done.
and I'll send you a follow-up email with all our committee information and contact information. And I'll also send you the meeting information for the tenants union that was mentioned earlier today. Yeah, thank you so much for your time and for sticking with the meeting. I know this was running really long. And thank you for applying.
This was, I really appreciate you all giving me the time to chat with you, and I look forward to serving on committees and meeting everybody in person.
Thank you, Anna Marie.
Thanks, Anna Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, all right. We have no other applicants, so we're going to move to item 6B, Programs and Services Committee. This is Jared Gunsberg, his item. And so they had a meeting last week and they took action on some things, and he's going to take it from here. And we have a speaker.
Hello, we.
Jared?
Here I am. I'm having muting issues. Okay, so hello again, everybody. This is regarding the Programs and Services Committee, Big Brothers and Big Sisters initiative. We met at our last Programs and Services Committee to discuss the Neighborhood Council officially endorsing and assisting with outreach for a Big Brothers and Big Sisters initiative here in Lincoln Heights. We had a representative from Big Brothers and Big Sisters come and present to us, and the board has voted unanimously to recommend that the Neighborhood Council endorse and assist with outreach for Big Brothers and Big Sisters. What that outreach looks like right now is printing up flyers, and hopefully we can use this as an additional outreach for the Neighborhood Council to be more involved on the ground in the community. I know it sounds very, analog, old school, but, going in and handing out flyers and helping sort of paper and flyer for the Big Brothers and Big Sisters program in the community. We'd also put it up on our website, and once we get public and community events rolling back up again, they'd have the opportunity to have tables and a presence there. So that was what was conceived of in the committee. Our vote was to recommend, and Daisy Quinones really was on the committee and a member of the community. She really spearheaded this, and her energy and initiative made this happen. And I know we have a representative tonight from Big Brothers and Big Sisters who is going to briefly present the program, and then hopefully this will go to a vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared. And the presenter, can you let me know what their name is on the attendee side so I can go ahead and promote them? Oh, I see they raised their hand. All right, Hetty, I'm gonna go ahead and promote you to panelists, and you can give us a little introduction.
Right. I think, can everyone hear me?
Hi, Eddie. Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, yes, hi. Yes, good evening, everyone. My name's, I don't know why I say it's Eddie, but my name's Eddie Berto. I'm the Senior Enrolling and Matching Specialist here at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Greater Los Angeles. So thank you guys for having us today. Our program, we serve all of LA County. So as far, North Lancaster, as far south as Long Beach, really all of LA County. And something we've been trying to do, recently is doing more community outreach. We want to get more people involved in the community. And since we cover such a great area, getting the support of people from those communities and getting outreach can really support us and accomplishing our mission. And our mission at Big Brothers Big Sisters is, to be able to provide mentorship or find mentors for kids from the community. We work with majority of kids from the inner city. It's like 90% of our littles are littles of color. So we work a lot with minority groups. We're a program that focuses on making sure those kids can have a mentor, providing them a safe space, someone that they can talk to. Working with kids who come from single parent households, like over 50% of the kids we work with are kids from single parent households. So a lot of the times, parents don't have the time to take their kids out or, to do fun activity, take them to the park. I think if anyone here has ever worked with kids, a lot of the kids in LA have never even been to the beach. So just giving them that opportunity to, go out and do fun activities with someone and also provide mentorship, someone who can guide them in the right way. So that's kind of what we try to do here at Big Brothers Big Sisters is find mentors for kids in our community to hopefully be impactful. Just to share some statistics of our program. 94% of our littles, or sorry, I keep saying littles. By littles, I mean kids. It's just something that comes automatically to me at this point. So 94% of the kids we work with, they see an improvement in their self-confidence. 92% of our littles see an improvement in their grades, and 97% of the littles in our program graduate from high school. So our program has shown that having mentors can really be impactful to those littles. At Big Brothers Big Sisters of Los Angeles, we do offer a couple different programs, but what we're looking for is extra support in our community program, which is the one that has the majority of kids. So a bit about the program. How it works is we get volunteers from the community who want to give back. They don't get paid or anything like that. It's just people who want to make it different in a child's life. They go through a very thorough background check. We know how important it is to our parents to make sure the people they hang out with are safe. So we look at their driving record, we fingerprint them, look at their local and federal records. They go through a whole process that takes about a month. We interview them just because it's so important to us to make sure the people who are committing to a program can make that commitment. The commitment to our program is a 1-year commitment. And the expectation is that the volunteers hang out with the kids at least 2 times per month. We say 1-year commitment. We hope it's a long lasting. We have matches that are been going on past our program. We have volunteers who were once part. They were the kids in the program, and now they're the ones volunteering. We have I have recently interviewed a volunteer whose dad was a leader in the program, and his volunteer is now in his 90s. So we're hoping, for these long-lasting matches. And one thing with that is we want to make sure we have the volunteers and the littles know about our program, which can be super important. So that's why we're looking, to get involved a bit more in different communities in LA, just because it's so broad and sometimes, you can post things online, but if sometimes it's doing that in-person activities, getting that support of someone else from that community who knows the people in those communities. And that's where we're just looking to do is just, get the word out about our program. One of the reasons we still do flyers is we work with a lot of, Latinos too, who they're not familiar, parents aren't familiar with the tech savvy things of, posting on social media. So the only ways they'll hear about it is through flyers or, tables at school events or any events you guys are hosting. Which we don't mind doing, because it's a great way also for the communities to hear about the program, aside from just, posting advertisements on social media or radio things. It's a great way to talk about the program. For the families, the program is completely free. This doesn't cost them anything. And basically the only requirement of the families is that the child has to be willing to participate. Only reason for that being is that we are a program that focuses on the social impact of it, right? So being able to build a relationship with the volunteer. We don't want to force anyone to do that. If the kid's not making an attempt, to build this relationship with the volunteer, then at that point, we're not just wasting, the child's time, but also the volunteer who's, trying to build this relationship with someone. And that's pretty much it about our program. I can answer any questions, anyone has on, what, if you have any questions about the program or in other ways that we can, work together in getting the word out about our program.
Thank you, Heriberto. I'm going to move to the public first to see if anyone has any comments or questions. Please raise your hand or press *9. We have Daisy.
Hi, I just really quick, I want to say, Heriberto, I've never met you in person. We've met through email, but thank you so much for your time, especially today. You've waited like 2 hours, and I just want to say thank you so much. And I'm so sorry that you had to wait this late for you to come on, but thank you for staying and for still being here. Thank you.
Of course, yeah.
Thank you, Daisy. Are there any other public comments or questions? I don't see any other hands raised. We're going to move to board members. Are there any board members with questions, comments? We have Gil.
Hi, this is great. I don't know, this community needs some things. Just for my information, I was a football, basketball, and baseball coach for 25 years, and then I went into scouting, and I'm still involved in scouting on the council level. But what really struck me by walking around Lincoln Heights is the number of children. I think they're in the house. You don't see them out around. You don't see them in the playgrounds. You don't play. I think that they need something like this. And as far as getting the how to reach them in Lincoln Heights, the only way you are going to reach people is with handbills and going out. We've found that with the elections and schools that the social media isn't a big thing for 89% of the people in Lincoln Heights. So the only way you are going to reach them and let them know about your programs is with flyers and going door to door. And anything that would benefit the kids, I think it's something that's worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you, Gil. I just had a super quick question. Thank you for your time and for being here, Heriberto. I'm happy you brought up the thorough background check for the big brothers and sisters. I'm a social worker, and that was like the first thing that popped in my head. And then like my only question is, when you say like, you know, it's a mentorship and they hang out, like what do they do when they hang out? Is there a structure? Is this a mentorship for like academic or a career? Like what exactly is like the structure?
Yeah, so our program is more about the social part of it, of like just giving them an opportunity to talk to someone outside of the group. We don't focus too much on tutoring and stuff like that. That's not what our program is about. Some volunteers are comfortable, with the tutoring part of it, but it's not an expectation that we as an agency have for those volunteers. It's more on focusing on, sometimes we have kids who are on the shyer side, so getting them to, break out of that shell, become talkative a bit more. Also, sometimes we have kids who are, maybe going down the wrong path, and just having someone, outside of their parents, because I feel a lot of kids, they get tired of their parents, telling them this. I'm sure at us as kids as well, we're like, yeah, that's, of course, you're our parents, you're going to tell us that. So just giving them, an opportunity to hear from someone else, someone who also can, share their experiences with them. One of the things I didn't mention is the way we match is based on common interests and proximity and preferences. So common interests can be, from liking the same things, whether it's like sports, music, or pursuing higher education, or sometimes it's even a kid who's interested like in a job field. So we might have a little who's interested in animation, so we might match them with someone who, does stuff like that. So it goes a lot into the way we match. But at the end, we just want to give them exposure, just give them an opportunity to talk to someone outside of, their normal group, someone who can just give them a different point of view. And at the same time, have some fun, because like I said earlier, a lot of our kids don't get the chance to, go out and just be kids by themselves, or have fun, or someone to play, sports with, or go to the movies, or go to museums. So just giving them an opportunity to do that. In that program, we don't really have a curriculum. It's more about giving them just an opportunity to build a relationship. So we don't necessarily tell them like, oh, you guys have to do this, or you guys have to talk about that. It's more about just giving them the opportunity to build that relationship that hopefully can be long lasting.
Thank you, Heriberto. Are there any other board member comments or questions? If not, we will be moving forward with a vote. That's correct. Okay, we have Esmeralda.
I'm just wondering if you have to have a car to participate, to be a big brother or sister. Like,
Yeah, so at this time, it is a requirement that our volunteers have a driver's license, car insurance, and a vehicle, since they are responsible for picking up and dropping off the child at home.
Okay, thank you. That's all the comments I had.
Thank you. Next, we have Annalie.
Oh, I was just Oh, I put my hand down because I was like, I could just email them, but I mean, since you called at me. No, I was just gonna say, you know, if like maybe like, do you ever do like groups? Like, say if somebody wanted to be big and they didn't have a car or whatever, but somebody else did, and then maybe they could like, you know, group together with like 2 littles or 3 littles. You know what I mean? Do
Yeah.
you guys ever do that or no?
No,
Like to
so
make it more, anyways, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So unfortunately, our program focuses more on just that one-to-one aspect. So just giving them the opportunity to build one-on-one. We do offer a couple other programs. So we have a school-based program where volunteers come to schools during lunch. And in that one, we don't require like a driver's license or car insurance or anything like that, since they'll be meeting at the school. The only thing with that one is that we only work with certain schools. We have one that's near downtown, so it's kind of, you know, a bit south of you guys. But we do offer a couple other programs. I'm not too familiar with the school-based program, but I know through that one, it's one where the commitment's a bit different. But at the same time, we don't require like a driver's license or car insurance, since the meetups are just during lunch at school.
Thank you. Any other board member questions or comments? I believe Gilbert has already spoken. For time purposes, we're going to move forward.
I'm sorry. I didn't know my mic was on. I'm gonna say the question. So I see that you have like programming in like juvenile halls, right? Like, I'm looking on the website.
So it depends. I know our agency, Los Angeles, we don't currently have anything in juvenile halls. That might be another county, because we do have other branches. So there's one like in Orange County, there's one in Ventura, there's also one in San Bernardino. So those might be the ones that might be listed, but currently we don't have a program at any juvenile hall.
Okay. So like you have the board. I was looking at the board, and it's a corporate board. It's Netflix and stuff like that. Like corporate board and it's Big Brothers Big Sisters LA, so it's part of the bigger America thing, American group, right? And I think it gets substantial funding from the government. So like if you want to be a big brother, it's like a job, right? You get paid.
No, it's they're just volunteering their time, so they don't get anything out of it. It's just
the jobs I'm seeing are for like admin and staff for the organization then. So,
yeah. So the staff definitely gets paid, but the volunteers don't. As a nonprofit, we just, you know, stay afloat through donations and stuff like that, and working and partnering with corporations and stuff.
Okay. And then so like I'm just curious, because the board, like, I'm just like, it would be good to diversify a board with community leaders and stuff, and like grassroots people, but ban the box. I know you probably don't hire felons, right? But it's a big deal in our neighborhoods, because a lot of people, yeah, they can't even, whatever.
Yeah,
So they worked with Grid, right? They were employees at Grid, and then something happened, and then now they can't do anything. You can work at St. Vincent's or something, but like, would it be like local volunteers interacting with the kids in Lincoln Heights, or is it volunteers from like the other side of town?
So that's kind of like the outreach we want to do. Is we of course we want you know, to get the word out to kids from Lincoln Heights, but we also would like to reach out to volunteers in Lincoln Heights, because I think it's super important to have mentors, you know, from the same community as you. That's something as an agency we struggle with, is we get a lot of volunteers who are from out of state, you know, who are coming from New York, who are, you know, new to LA. So of course we want to have more volunteers from, you know, our city, who know what it's like to live in LA or Lincoln Heights or any other neighborhood, but it's about getting the word out. And that's, you know, what we're looking to do at the agency, is just to get the word out, so that way we can get more volunteers from those areas. Because right now I can share that a lot of the volunteers we have are located like on the west side of it. So say from like Santa Monica and West Hollywood and Koreatown, downtown, those areas. But if you're anything familiar with LA, you know that those are the areas where, a lot of people go when, you're new to LA and you're coming from out of state. A lot of people, when they come to LA, they don't come to the areas that need, the most help, like South Central LA. We don't really get volunteers there, or pretty much any area in East LA. We get like, little volunteers here and there from those areas, but it's not the same amount. So that's why we're looking to do outreach, not just for, kids in the community, but also volunteers who want to, partner up or mentor, people from their own community. And as for like felons, we don't, our background check's very thorough. So if anything comes out on their records, it's automatically disqualified. They have to have a super clean driving record. We look at their local records, federal records, we run their fingerprints. And by having their fingerprints, if at any point they do commit a crime, we're notified. So at that point, they're automatically disqualified and the match ends. Because we know how important safety is to our families, and that's our #1 concern here at Big Brothers Big Sisters, is ensuring the safety of the participants in our program. So on that end, I can say we do our best when ensuring that no one that can be a potential risk to our littles are accepted into our program.
And then do you guys historically have a presence in like Hackla, like at William Mead or Ramona Gardens or Mar Vista?
So with our littles, it's mostly most of our littles come from the inner city. So I'd say like South Central LA, East LA, some parts in the valley, and then you have like Compton, places where people, anyone familiar with LA knows there's a need for help in those areas. Our volunteers, it's basically, if you look at any map that shows demographics on how much money is made, that's where our volunteers are from. So any Santa Monica, we get a bunch of volunteers from there. Marina del Rey, Playa Vista. You can go down to Redondo Beach. We get volunteers in those areas. But then when you look at, areas like South LA and Compton, we don't get many volunteers out there. So that's why we're, trying to reach out to communities and get involved in those communities, so we can do more outreach for volunteers in those areas as well, which, I keep saying, which I think it's super important to have mentors from that community so they can understand, the kids and what they're going through.
Awesome. Thank you, Heriberto. For purpose of time, I think we should move forward with the motion. Is there a motion to approve the disbursement of flyers and brochures and a link on the LHNC website?
So moved.
Is there a second to that?
I second.
Motion moved by Jared and seconded by Esmeralda. I'm going to go ahead and move forward with a vote. Sarah?
No.
Ben? Ben Wadsworth? All right, I will go back to you. Chente? All right, I'll go back to you. Fernanda? Yes. Annalie?
Yes.
Sylvia?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
Gil?
Yes, and Fernanda, I just wanted to say that you can go a long time. I have a godson that I do a lot of things with. He's 3 years old and I'm 85. So you can do a lot of things for a long time. Thank you.
Gil, what's your vote on the motion? Gil? All right. Richard,
Simon.
Steve,
Yes.
Selena,
Yes.
Esmeralda,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Angelo, Angelo Balomo,
Yes.
Benny,
Yes.
Cristina,
Yes.
back to Ben Wadsworth,
Yes.
and back to Chente.
Yes.
All right, that is 16 yes, 1 no, motion carries.
Sorry, I have the 2 flyers, so motion carries, and I have the 2 flyers as a supporting document, and then Jared, I guess we could make like a combo flyer, right?
Yes, that was my thought, is that we would do some kind of combo flyer with both logos on there. And then we can go at the next committee meeting, we can talk about how to distribute and then reach out to the board at the next meeting, maybe just as an announcement, since it's already been approved, since it's just housekeeping.
Yeah, we'll just.
We can come up at the next meeting and be in touch with the organization.
I'll go ahead and forward you our logo so that you have that on file, Jared, for the
Oh,
flag.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Jared. Right, so we're gonna move to the next item. Selena, Elections Committee. Now, we kind of already went over this a little bit, but Selena, do we need to take action on this item about the where we're gonna have the elections?
Well, the reason, and actually just earlier when we were voting on the candidate, the applicant, and I didn't vote, I was having issues with my mic.
Oh,
And I got those straightened out. But anyway, so she was actually the city clerk's office needed a response by yesterday. So that's why the elections committee voted on the ballot voting model, and we approved it. And so I went ahead and just I let her know that it was just the elections committee that approved it, not the entire board.
okay.
So they were going to move forward whether we responded or not. It was more for, making sure that we were crossing our T's and dotting our I's.
Yeah, okay, cool. So we got that done. Thank you, Selena.
Thank you, Selena.
All right. I don't know if Roy's on this meeting, but he was on the last meeting. Vince, you want to tackle item D, Paradise Hill? Are you there, Vince? All right, well, we've heard this before. We've written one letter. I'm just going to kind of, so I have a file in the supporting documents. And as you know, Paradise Hill was city property that was sold by the councilman in 1968 to a developer in a controversial sale that was, they said it was corrupt and all this stuff. And it was never sorted out. And ever since, Paradise Hill has been private property, so passed on to developer to developer. And so now it's going up for auction. And it's really severe. And you can see in the attached document, the correspondence with the owner. So we're writing a new letter to plead with, well, Jimmy Gomez is reelected, so he's there now. And then Ulysses, and I guess we're emphasizing the point that we're not asking the city to like buy something that's like, it was the people's land in the first place, right? And it was sold for 30,000, 30 acres for $70,000. So the city needs to get the land back. And that's what the letter is stating. And it's just all the facts with all the articles and historic documents about the land. And Roy was going to come on, so they have a nonprofit. They want to name it Sal Castro Park. And yeah, so we have all the letters there, and this is not on the horn right now. So I guess I'm going to move for the letter, and if we have a second or anything, and then we could have a discussion.
All right, so Sarah moves to approve the letter. Is there a second?
I second.
Nancy seconds. Board discussion. I don't see any hands raised. Public discussion. Don't see any hands raised. We can move forward with a vote.
It's a time sensitive thing. Yeah.
All right, Sarah,
Yes.
Ben,
Yes.
Chente,
Yes.
Fernanda, yes, Annalie,
Yes.
Sylvia,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
Lydia's excuse, Jared. Jared. I'll go back to you, Jared. Gil,
Yes.
Richard,
Simon.
Steve,
Yes.
Selena,
Yes.
Esmeralda,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Angelo,
Sorry, one more to come back in a second.
no worries, Becky,
Yes.
Christina,
Yes.
back to Jared. Did we lose Jared?
No.
Well, I guess we have
Angelo?
a majority on that one, right? What is the vote? So we just are missing Jared.
Angelo,
That's a yes.
right, and Jared.
That's a yes. I got bounced off. Sorry about that.
That's unanimous, motion carries.
Carries, woo! It's a juicy letter if you see the attached document. All right, Vince, you want to tackle item number 2? Now, this is kind of a big one.
Yes, item number 2 is a letter requesting for recreation and parks. Not just recreation and parks, but really all in CD 14 to create PAB boards, which are park advisory boards. These are something that have been around for a long time, kind of like neighborhood councils, to deal with the needs and doing needs assessments with the rec directors on what the needs of the public is. And so here we have a list of parks that the letter would be reaching out to, which is the Lincoln Heights Rec Center, Downey Park, Albion Riverside Park, Lincoln Park, Lincoln Heights Youth Center, Heritage Square, Parque de Mexico, Mount Olympus 1, Lacey Street Park, ELA Park, Ed Reyes River Greenway, and the Lincoln Heights Jail. And these advisory boards are important because they're publicly not publicly elected, but they're stakeholders working with the park directors. So this letter is requesting that the park director, we contact the parks that we just mentioned, and that we ask for them to create or start the creation of a park advisory board for each of the parks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we have a letter that we wrote at the last meeting, and it's attached on here. So, these PABs are actually par for the course. They're in every other neighborhood, and ours we don't have any PABs, and this kind of popped off when they decided to renovate Lincoln Heights Rec, and the community was never notified, and the council was never notified, and and it's in the state that it's in now, right? So, and then the Dodger Stream Field. So we're just asking, can we have these community advisory boards like every other neighborhood has, like Los Feliz has, and Silver Lake. And so that's what we're asking. That's what the letter says.
And just one note, they're very important. Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council approved 2 members or 2 board city members representing the council to the Hazard Park one, which, we still got to follow up with the park director. And those appointees were Fernanda Sanchez and Benny Madera.
Mhm.
And so while we have so many, this is also something that board members that are interested in them, once we make communication, should reach out. I was on the Echo Park one when it first started, and I'm not going to say the year because it'll date me, but I still have our original badges that they gave us, because they used to give us city badges. Because we used to be really engaged with the issues that came before our parks. So I think it's very important, because there's a lot of things happening in our parks right now, and they're just getting passed under the radar because we don't have any of these park advisory boards. So it's something that we should push as a council, and I'm glad that we wrote this letter.
Yeah, there's so much Parks and Rec, so much land under the jurisdiction of Parks and Rec when you really look at it. And that it's like it's inaccessible land as well. So yeah, we're noticing it.
I'll start off by making a motion to approve the letter to all the listed parks to form park advisory boards.
I'll second.
Fernanda?
Right, board discussion, any hands raised? I don't see any public members with any questions or comments? I don't see any. Right, so motion is to approve the letter presented by Vincent, seconded by Ben. I'll move forward with a vote. Sarah?
Could we just do a majority vote?
Sure. Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? I don't hear any, so that's a unanimous yes. That's 16 yeses. Motion carries.
Motion carries. Letter will be issued. Okay. So these two ones, just gonna wrap it up real quick here with these two little guys. Two demolitions. Now, we just have to write this official letter to the city. So the city has no protocol for notifying neighborhoods of any demo applications. So we just stumble upon them. And so the first one here is demolition. It's a letter to the city and LAGBS. It's opposing the demolition of a single family home at 231 South Avenue 18. It's a historic house right on the side of Downey Park. It was built in 1885. The demo application was submitted right after the guy bought it. So, you know, I went down there. Yeah, it has a huge backyard and everything, but it's that these investors are capitalizing on our public assets. It's like people worked hard to get the park, right? And then now they're tearing down single family homes for condos. So yeah, the letter, it's the oldest part of Lincoln Heights too. So yeah, so that's I have a supporting document with the letter and with images of the house too. I think it was a multifamily property as well. So I guess I would move on the letter. Fernanda, can you pull up the document real quick? I really want people to like see this stuff. Like, no, Downey Park is surrounded with houses that are now chained up and stuff. For years, and families were Ellis out. Anyway, is there a supporting document, Fernanda?
Yeah, 1 second.
I can pull it up.
There's folders within the supporting documents. So is this the correct one?
Yeah. Okay, so this is just from like the MLS, but they're marketing it. You could just scroll down, and it has pictures of the inside of the house, fireplace, backyard. So it's that house right there. A giant lot. And I think he already applied to do like some condos. So the whole thing is they buy it, they apply for a demo permit, they have to hang a blue sign for 30 days, and then after that, they can tear it down. And so we're just trying to stay on top of stuff, right? So yeah.
Okay, so Sarah motioned. I'm gonna second the motion to approve the letter.
All right, we'll go ahead and move it to board member discussion. We have Jared.
Yeah, hi, just really quick. Are the developers or the owners or one of their representatives, are they given the opportunity to be heard in front of the Planning and Land Use Committee? Are they notified that the Planning and Land Use Committee is taking up the matter, and are they invited or given an opportunity to be heard?
I'll answer that. So the LA City Planning does not make an effort to inform anybody of demolitions. But I chase down, when I discover a demolition permit, I email the people usually, or I do. And then they're trying to go around and demolish it as quickly as they can. They don't want to interface with the community. So when you see a demolition permit, it doesn't have the applicant's phone. Well, it doesn't have their name on it or their phone number. It's just a paper on a fence that's all wet. So if they want to come into our neighborhood and tear down our homes, they can come to the local government agency of the neighborhood council and talk to the community before they do it. That's what developers do. Developers have to come to us, and they come to us. So maybe city planning needs to tell the demolishers to come to the NC out of due diligence.
I guess that's my question. I mean, that is my question, is this an issue, a piecemeal issue with each demolition? And I understand the issues behind it, but is the bigger issue, and maybe something for the pluck to take up and possibly the larger board, is trying to develop, and listen, I'm not saying this might be aspirational, so I understand that, but is it worth attempting to at least figure out some way if we can put a system in place so that these property owners or their representatives at least have the right to be heard, and that we can get all the information as a board? You know, I understand the concern, and it may not move the needle one way or another, but my hesitation with these piecemeal motions and letters is important to the community as it is that, you know, what can I tell you? I'm a due process person. I believe that people have a right to be heard. Now, if city planning is not willing to disclose this information, that's also interesting. And if city planning, despite the exhortations of the neighborhood council, is not willing to help facilitate this communication, you know, that's something that might be worth taking up.
Yeah, it's not about the applicant, it's about the city itself, because they've upzoned the land and then they're actually partnering up with them, putting properties aside for future developments. And that's what we're witnessing on Pasadena Avenue. But it's the city and it's policy. And so I'm not vilifying like somebody who buys a property and immediately applies for a demo permit. It's that they're doing it because they can, the properties were so much more without the house on it because of what the city's done.
Right. This is just, and I hear that, and I get that. This is about flow of information and about figuring out a process to see if the board and the public can get all this information. Because if all this is truly happening in secret, and the board, we keep approving these letters and the same thing keeps happening over and over again, maybe the pluck can look into a systemic remedy, right? Maybe there's some way to get more information, so at least we can put people on notice that the community and the neighborhood wants to hear from them, and that they have the opportunity to answer questions.
Yeah.
And I just think that one thing about the notices, if I can just intervene here. So the requirement for them, there's not really a lot of regulation for them, and Jared's right. There has to be the process has to be fixed, the policy. The notification is the actual paper that you see on the property. So technically, under the city ordinance and the state ordinance, they've notified you with a paper statement notice, not a public notice, and it's not defined in the ordinance or in the law that says that you have to have a public hearing for it.
There's no hearing for a demolition.
Yeah, as long as they have their ownership of the land and they've done if there's any rentals on them or anything, and they've done that due process, and then they can demolish. The only thing that ever stops them is the historical monument clause in it. That's it. And that is because that is another hurdle they got to deal with the historical society and the city. But other than that, that notice on there, as long as it was put on there legally at the time and it has the permit number, then pretty much they've done their due diligence under the law. That can be changed, like Jared was mentioning towards. Maybe the letter should ask Unices that in this process, that there should be a public hearing, something as simple as that. And in that public hearing, notifications should go out to all agencies that are involved, including the neighborhood council. And and you know this, Sarah, because a lot of these notices go out and they never come out in time. We're always the last ones to hear about, even the legislative
position. They would put notices with no writing on it, on a stick, and it would rain, it would just wash away. We wrote like a crazy thing to city planning. But the whole thing, it's city planning, it's a department, so it's headed by appointees, they're commissioners, and they're real estate people, commercial real estate investors and stuff like that. So it's like, it's just very difficult when even our historic preservation overlay zone was designed by the guy who was, at the same time he was our councilman, he was working for Metro. So he made it very small. And so they're tearing everything down. And now we just saw what we saw last week, where they burnt down the other house next to Boys and Girls Club. And the city has tools to prosecute these guys, but they don't use them because they're afraid of being sued. And it's called scorched earth ordinance. And that's what we're trying to get the city to use against these developers.
Thank you, Sarah. I also want to say that just to provide more clarity, I kind of did have an issue with the language used of we should be providing an opportunity for these developers to speak in front of the public. Because to be very clear, we do reach out to them, but they do not want to present to us. They do not want to speak to the public because, one, it's not a requirement by the city, and two, and if they are doing shady stuff like that, they're not going to want to speak to the public. So it's not like we're putting up walls. There is outreach to them, but they are not, obviously not going to cooperate with us. So I do agree with the sentiments.
Thank you for clarifying that. That really was the question. And just and my audio is bad, so if I'm cutting you off, it's unintentional. The question I have then is that maybe just to be clear as a board and as a council, that we are, maybe documenting those outreach efforts and really driving home that they have refused these efforts.
I mean, we have our own tenants union now. Like stuff that happened like 4 years ago, it's not happening anymore. Like the houses next to Albion Park, these two that are chained up since 2019, that guy, he's like a Montebello Chamber of Commerce guy. He's an investor. He Ellis acted it and kicked out like all these families, and same over on Pasadena Avenue and same on East Lake. So they kick out the families and then they apply for demo permit. Well, sorry, I'm not like gonna like you already did a bad,
Yeah, I just want to finish my statement. I got interrupted by two. I do agree with the sentiments that maybe this letter should be more strongly worded and charged, because we do have all these attempts documented. We have so much documented, and it's blatant that the city is just kind of ignoring us because they've also been contacted about this. So I think that, yeah, I agree that we should figure out how to formulate to put more pressure and seriously highlight the accelerated demolitions that are happening here in Lincoln Heights.
It's like the city is as high as we can go. We get reprimanded if we write a letter to like the congressman, right? But the city attorney, it's the city makes up its own, it has its own rule, its own constitution. But when that one house caught fire and it burnt down the bungalows behind it, it's like, these are human rights. These are crimes. Like they can die. People are dying, whatever. I don't know if the feds can do something, but like, this is the point we always get to. It's like, who's going to listen to us, right? Who's going to care? But yeah, I don't know. You have to sue the city. That's what people do.
All
And we
right.
don't have money.
So one point on this letter before we move forward, is it time sensitive, Sarah?
Well, yeah, we didn't get the next item out and they tore it down.
Okay, so I would stick with the original recommendation, even though I agree with Fernanda and most of the board that we should have added some more stuff into it, but I think the letter should be sent in for its time purposes, because to add all that stuff in, we won't meet the deadline. So I wish that the motion originally stated and second continues onto its vote.
Okay, so who presented the motion?
Jared,
And it was seconded by,
I think it was Esmeralda.
all right, thank you. So we're gonna go ahead and move forward with a vote. I'll go ahead and do a majority vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, that's a unanimous yes. That's 16 votes. Motion carries.
Yay. Thank you, guys. And so this is the final one. It's so this one, they already demolished it. So, I don't know what else to do. So this is, I will issue the letter anyway. And in case you don't know, this is Pasadena Avenue, the same house that went on fire 10 times. It had an abate order on it and they demolished it on January 1st in the morning in the rain. That was very sad. And then mysteriously enough, a couple of days later, the house next to it was burned down. So now they have that whole area to build. So we're just writing these letters so it's documented and it's on right. It's like on the public record, and in the future, somebody can look back and see this.
I'll make the motion to approve the letter to oppose the demolition of 2659 North Pasadena Avenue 90031.
I'll second.
Fernanda?
For discussion. I don't see any hands raised. I see Annalie Har.
Yeah, I just this whole situation with those two properties, especially the first and then the second, super disturbing. And I don't know, I like what can we do? Like, okay, right, we write the letter and everything, but like, maybe we as a board, some of us can come together and like brainstorm on how we get a lawyer. I don't know if this is up Gerald, Allie, but I feel like people need to be held responsible because, we talked to the fire chief and they're like, it's vagrants, and it's clearly not like any. You could explain this situation to a 5-year-old and they would be like, well, who has the interest? And it's clearly the developer. You know what I mean? Like, well, on the report there, it's a vagrant. And like, it's like, how, it's just really, like, how do we fight? Yeah.
The chief and I said, aren't you pissed off like that your guys have been subjected to fire like 8 times here? Like, because of the neglect of this person not securing their property? Like, y'all could have died. And then he told me this, he said, listen, I said, are you going to do an arson investigation or just a report or whatever? And he said, well, when it's a vacant property, we don't do arson investigations.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a vagrant, and
then they say it's vacant.
And then what?
To make it so the city makes them do arson investigations on every fire.
Yeah, how many more times will it take to burn this one down? Probably just one more. Like, how do you know that? Who's paying you off? Like, this is insane. It's disgusting and insane. And I don't, No, yeah. Anyways, I don't know. Just throwing it out there since we have all the board members present. Hit me up not to have any violations of the Brown Act, but I'd love to Sarah has spoke about the Scorched Act before. Let's get some people held responsible. Like, this is total BS.
Email the city.
And it makes me angry.
If you don't do something right now, the next fire, people are gonna die. You better, and I said, this is the president of Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council. You better do something. And then what do you know? A couple days later, the houses all next door go on fire. But these properties have daycare center on one side, and a daycare center on the other. Or on Broadway, it's got a gas station on one side, a health clinic on the other. These places go on fire, they're gonna blow up the whole block, and the city's just like, haha. And so all I can say is, like, I'm telling you this, like,
right.
There's the AM's gonna blow up because y'all aren't doing your job. I don't know, whatever. It's just frustrating.
Anyways, yeah, that's my comment. If anybody wants to, like, come on, let's figure something. Yeah.
Okay, we have a board member hand up, Jared.
I'm just gonna suggest, similar to my comment on the last item, that perhaps the representative from the fire department could come and speak to the board about this on the record in full Brown Act compliance. I'm sure they would come if they were invited. I'm sure a PIO would come if they were invited, and just find out what's going on. I mean, I think everybody in the community would want to know if a building has caught fire, however, 7-8 times in the past few years, and then there seems to be fires. If they're going to say that these are people that are occupying vacant property, that's one thing. But I certainly have some questions, and I'm sure the community has some questions. And I think having somebody from fire come and answer those questions, I think would be beneficial for everybody.
Yeah.
Not to sound crass, but since the building has already been demolished, I move to table this item to a next meeting so that we can invite the fire department for that meeting and talk on this item.
I would second that.
The other house that burnt down is the cherry on the pie, and we haven't acted on that. So this one's already kind of a grave. But I've already talked to them. They're all from here. They grew up, they know these houses and stuff. So it's so weird.
So
I would second Fernanda's motion.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to table it. It already burnt down. I want to get this letter out. And then on the next plug, we're going to do something about the other house and then tie it all together. I think, because the other house is like the wild card. Because it's going to force them to do these arson investigations. I don't know.
So we have two motions. The one that we have before us is to table, the one that Fernanda. If that fails, then we continue on with the original vote.
I mean, this is from like a month ago, and in the interim, it burned down or was torn down. So I don't know. Whatever. This is like the third letter we've written on it. So. For the next meeting, I can do it about the other house. Well, like, whatever, we could table it, yeah. But
Okay.
we need to act sooner because it's like kind of time sensitive.
We'll just do the vote for tabling first then. All those in favor, actually, I'm gonna go one by one. Sarah?
No, I don't want to table it.
All right, Ben?
Yeah.
Chente?
No.
Annalie?
Yes.
Sylvia?
No.
Melanie?
No.
Jared?
Yes.
Gil? Gil?
Yes. After I moved.
Richard?
Challenge.
Steve is not here. Selena,
No.
Esmeralda,
No.
Nancy,
No.
Angelo,
I think he exited the meeting and came back in, so maybe is on the attendee side.
I just promoted him over.
No.
Benny,
No.
Cristina,
No.
and Fernanda. I'm gonna say yes, only because I think it is important to have like the fire chief on record to explain what happened. So I would recommend that we do that for the next item that we have, that is an arson thing. Motion does not carry. It is 11 noes and 5 yeses. So we're going to move on to the next motion, which is to approve the letter. I'm going to do a general vote count. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any oppositions? I don't hear any. Any abstentions? I don't hear any. That's 16 unanimous yeses. Motion carries.
Motion carried. Thank you for approving this letter, because it's not just me doing this. Boys and Girls Club, we've been working together. The longer we wait, or you just think it's about a house that's burnt down and it's not there anymore. There's kids next door on both sides, and there's a house there that's already burnt once, and it's going to burn again, and it's going to burn the kids. So you just got to keep hitting them. It's like, then they pay attention. I'm not going to like sit here and make an example and have the fireman come on. It's like that house is going to catch fire again, and Boys and Girls Clubs is going to go on fire. So.
All right. For purposes of time, we're nearing 3 hours. Can we move to the next item?
Any of you committees, have any of the committees had meetings? If no, then we can skip this. Ad hoc tennis rights committee, outreach and events, holiday committee, government liaison, rules and bylaws.
We have Jared's hand raised.
Jared?
Hello, we did have a meeting of the Programs and Services Committee as we met at our
We
Boys and
already.
Girls Club rep. What I'm asking though, for the next committee meeting is I'm going to propose to outreach and events that we do a joint committee meeting so we can discuss the website. So I'm going to reach out to outreach and events to see if we can do a joint committee meeting. And when we figure that out, the content of the new proposed Lincoln Heights website, we'll announce it to the community and the rest of the board.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Jared. Awesome. And yeah.
I don't.
Every board membership has to be on one committee too, I want to mention. Okay, requests and motions for future agenda items. Any board members have any, just like, did anybody, like area reps, did anybody in your area tell you something that they want dealt with? Like, are there any items, like off the top of your head, like just something, so I can write it down? Pressing stuff.
I have one on the corner of Albion and Mozart. We had major flooding in that little corner. And so they did ask and reach out to see if street services could come and figure out what's wrong with the sewer and the backup in our drains. Because it really, even in a minor drain, it'll flood a little.
They're doing that sewer work down there, remember? The meeting that we had? They're making the sewer wider for the condos they're gonna build. Okay, Albion and Mozart, yeah, it was very bad. Okay, and then also I would like to say over on Avenue 26 at Lincoln Cypress, all the cars were like in 5 feet of water. People want that fixed. Anybody else?
We have Selena's hand raised.
I just wanted to mention, this isn't like a big deal or anything, but there's been a lot of internet outages here in Area 7, in particular today. So just in case there are people who don't have like the Spectrum alerts, just in case you have Spectrum, the internet has been in and out all day.
Yes, I had Spectrum for 8 years and I just switched and it was the best decision I ever made, to be honest. Next we have Annalise hand.
Annalise?
Yeah. So one thing I want to do is I'll bring it up at the next outreach meeting, but street sweeping. I want to make flyers to put on people's cars to let them know, call 311 and find out when your street sweeping is, because it's bi-weekly. And I know that everybody that I see is always still parking, even on off days. I try to let my neighbors know, and they still are a little apprehensive because they're, it's a little traumatic with those tickets. But yeah, that is one thing I'd like to work on. So I will notify my outreach committee meeting. But if anybody else wants to, jump in on that in their different areas when we get the flyers and I'll pass them out, that'd be cool.
Next we have Christina.
Hi, sorry, I have like a newbie question. All the committee meetings, is there do I have to go on the neighborhood council website? Do we have a master calendar where everything is put in like a month in advance? And I'm so sorry, it's because I literally live by my calendar, but I want to see what's happening and learn. I don't know which committee to join because I want to learn, but I don't know exactly when they're happening. Or can you direct me to where the calendar is?
I usually try to put it as an attachment on every agenda, but the committees just have to meet once every, Ben, what is it? Like once every 6 months or something?
Oh.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that's it.
I try to have the committees do a meeting once a month, because then that's where all the work gets done. So it gives us content and stuff to put in the agendas, right? So we will try to get a calendar going, but yeah.
Can that be a future agenda item? We could have a neighborhood council master calendar.
This is also another great way to come to the Joint Planning, Outreach, and Programs and Services Committee as a master calendar on the new and improved Lincoln Heights Neighborhood Council website.
Jared, yours is the only announcement I got on my email. And I'm sorry I didn't go, but I got that via email before you had it. So I actually appreciate that.
But the next one we'll be sure you're there, because that's actually a great idea of something that we should have in prominent place.
We have council members who are not on any committees. So that's a really big deal. And we have committees that haven't had meetings for months. And so what that does is our general board agendas, it's like we need your committees to deliver the content so that our general board meetings aren't very long, right? With presentations and stuff. So the calendar will be great. And then we have to deal with like when they let us meet in person again, right? So so I encourage everybody to join a committee, and like the community should be on the committee. Everybody, it's like your own thing. We'll get a calendar going.
Yeah, I'll get that organized and I'll follow up with the board.
I have one already, actually. I made it. So I'll send it. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, so yeah. And then Vince is free. Oh, any more items, guys? Any more items? No? All right. And then I'm going to say one more thing. In our bylaws, it says that on the first meeting of the month, the president and the ExCom is supposed to establish when we have general board meetings. In our bylaws, it says we're supposed to have them the first and third Thursday of the month. And then if we don't like it, we can choose to just do it one Thursday a month. Other councils have meetings that are like 7 hours long. You know what I mean? We have 2 meetings that are like 2.5 hours long. Now, do you guys want to have one meeting a month? Or I'm going to say this, if we have one meeting a month, general board, we have to have committees meeting regularly every month. So Vince, what can we do? Can we all decide right now, like what?
We can't take it up because it's not on the agenda.
It's not an actual item. It says that the executive committee says what it is. Like, there's no vote.
That becomes an actionable item. The committee can make the.
No, but it says like after they like discuss like people's availability and.
That's the transparency of listening to the public, whether they agree with us or not. And then we would take a vote.
Ben, hold on, because I've talked about this before. Ben,
I'd like to put a motion for the XCOM to handle this at their next executive committee meeting.
well, it's the difference between us having a meeting in a few weeks or not. So, all right, cool.
There are attendees have their hands up. I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah, thank you, Selena. We have Matthew, Noah.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me just fine? Yeah, awesome. Okay. Hey, I actually just have a quick question, maybe something to bring up for the next meeting. I don't know if we have the time, but I just have a quick question. I'm part of the Lincoln Heights Youth Arts Center. I'm a teaching artist there. I've come before in previous meetings before. It's nice to see everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Just really quickly, I wanted to go ahead and ask about, we had applied for a neighborhood purpose grant. I don't know if I had missed the meeting prior discussing like further actions regarding that, but we just would like to know the status regarding that. And if we need to table that till the next meeting, that's fine. Thank you.
Matthew, you can reach out directly to me. We covered that in the beginning of the meeting, and because we're towards the end, we can't cover it, but my email is vincent.m.LHNC@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Well, sure. All right, cool. Well, Vince, your final item.
Okay. Motion to adjourn. All
Second.
Third.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye. All right, cool.
Aye.
All those that oppose, I shouldn't hear any. Abstentions, none. Meeting officially ends at 9:06. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
See you at our next.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
And reach out to the committees. We need committee members.
Great.
Night.
Thank you again, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.